Okay, we have the storage capacity problem with our video recording for YouTube. We are talking about the second poetry, that is Bibriti, a narration. We are having the first line, Unishe bidhoba me kayo kleshe untirishe she garbhavati holo. Very interesting line to start a poetry. A village girl, widow, at age 19, after a lot of struggle, has come to age 29 to become pregnant. Very interesting line. We are moving to the third poetry. Third poetry is titled Dupur, an afternoon. Poet here talking about the scorching sunlight in afternoon. Tired young man stopping while walking in sunlight. A beautiful girl opening hair after bath. Few young guys are frustrated. Young men having cigarette in tired face. Young guy expecting a job and salary. A young guy needs darkness and night for afternoon sunlight. A young guy needs darkness and night from afternoon sunlight. It is Dupur, an afternoon, very colloquial sense of poetry title of a Bengali poet. We talk about the next poetry 4. Poetry number 4, Choturer Bhumika. The introduction of a clever person. Poet talking on Nirupama Devi, a beautiful lady, to accept flowers. Poet talking on Nirupama Devi to accept flowers. Her name has the beauty of poetry. She has shown mercy to Rabindranath Tagore's talent of creating poetry. Many young boys bring gifts for her. Many young boys bring gifts for her. Sky has many shameful glory. Words and ornamentation will find the meaning of life. Poet has done the drawing of his own canvas. If you give permission, we will start from you. If you give permission, we will start from you. Then we go to the next poetry, the sense of poetry we convey to your market. The poetry number 5, poetry title is Tumi, you. Poetry title, you, Tumi. Poet talking about his own youth, young days, and his love affair. Poet talking about his lady love has given him the courage, audacity to emulate. She has given him a sense of arrogance. Poet talking about his lady love has given him the courage, audacity to emulate. She has given him a sense of arrogance. Your both eyes have the sense of cold cowardice and timidness. In the deep blue midnight sky, you have given this small earth a rare vastness. I don't know or recognize your body made of pain and beauty. I don't know or recognize your body made of pain and beauty. You are the identity of this earth. Sometimes I think you are not from this earth. In scorching sunlight, I work for my bread and butter to earn money. In the evening sunset, I take rest. I beg mercy in tiredness. You have placed songs in your body. Night is with full of rhythm of music. You have placed songs in your body. Night is full of rhythm of music. The beautiful smell of your closeness brings the smile of joy and the signature of unknown. This sense of poetry required to be discussed, because complication in language style giving us a rare sense of style of designing sound. Then we talk about poetry number 8. Poetry number 8, title Maharaj Ami Tomar. Dear King, I am yours. In this poetry number 8, we're talking about he's a dear friend of a big king. He's a dear friend of a big king. He is an old boy servant. He has caught fish in king's dear water. He has planted a rose tree in his face. I pinch on your body. The king drinks milk in a pot. He drinks king's water. Dear king, I am yours. Little bit sense of fun and allegory in imaginative style of storytelling. Now we talk about poetry number 6. Poetry number 6, poetry title is very easy, Shahoj. Poetry title Shahoj, very easy. Poetry title Shahoj, very easy. We're talking about how easily I have bloomed 1 lakhs of flowers. Suddenly I have illuminated few suns and moons with stars. When I think I put it off the moonlight and sunlight, do you remember it? Disgraceful and slanderous people will accuse me not to believe. They will say he's a child, a senseless human being, or a fake magician. In the eyes of a little girl, he is playing con game, a fake game. The audience smiling, they cannot accept or forget this con game on this helpless girl. Disgraceful people will see easily I am holding the universe like Lord Krishna or Lord Brahma. You people have to visit my home to understand how strange home it is. There is a roof on my head. There is no wall around. There is obedient servant in my home. That servant is busy all day, all night. I am painting sitting in my home which has no wall in that girl's eyes. In her eyeballs, the painting is very easy to capture than outside pictures. You all senseless child, go back. All disgraceful people, you don't trust me or believe me if I'm a magician. Sense of poetry, story narrative flow has irregularity. In terms of poetry writing by Sunil Gangopadhya, we find narrative flow irregular. In terms of storytelling, sense of poetry, story narrative flow has irregularity. Sense of narrative not properly understood. The subject of poetry has interruption of narrative flow. The poet's own sense of language ego not properly justified in the flow of meaning. Now we go to the poetry number 9. Poetry number 9. Poetry number 9, title Oshukher Chhara. A poem of illness. We're talking about if you sleep alone in a room, you cannot remember anybody. If you sleep alone in a room, you cannot remember anybody. How he will open a window and see the face of God. Birds singing all time, all moon have waves flowing non-stop. So many people sleeping, but I have no sleep and dream. A flower brings the smell of chest in the desire of revenge. A tree has to show face Sky will show face. My window is closed, but I did not open the clock. God has no clever thinking of breaking the window and enter the room. God has no clever thinking of breaking the window and enter the room. Then we are talking about poetry number 10. Poetry number 10, title Hothat Nirar Jonno. Suddenly for Nira. Poet's love affair for Nira. Nira is a girl. She's the heroine of this poetry. A beautiful story told in this poetry about his lady love Nira. Poet talking about his love affair Nira. Poet saw Nira in a bus stop for 3 minutes. Poet saw Nira in a bus stop for 3 minutes. Poet in his dream has seen Nira many times. Poet has taken sleeping medicine to forget Nira in blue wrong time. The sea of dream is very dangerous. After 3 days there will be a suicide case. Poet saying the lady Nira is nude body doing bath in blue water. Poet saying the lady Nira is nude body doing bath in blue water. Nira is a close friend of a fraud game, casino club owner. Full 1 year he will not sleep. The nudity under my dress is shameless. Your face is on the bus window. Today I am going, but you will come to my house. In the shouting of sunlight, all sound submerged. We can go to the field beside library. When I see the wristwatch time, I am allowed to reach office faster. While reading Sunil gangopadhya poetry, we understand today's time there is a different treatment of sound designing. The way I'm designing the sound, there is sense of repetition to create an image in the eyes of the listeners. When listeners will hear the poetry in full volume, they will hear a sense of visuals. They will see visuals. They will see a story moving. My job to create story visuals for the listeners. When they hear this poetry, they will talk about Sunil gangopadhya's clarity of allegory, clarity of visuals, clarity of storytelling in each poetry, clarity of breaking the language flow and creating a sense of hard, complex narrative. Then we talk about poetry number 11, Shudhu Kobitar Jonno, only for poetry. Only for poetry. We're talking about my birth is only for poetry. Only for poetry you are a woman. Only for poetry so much of blood falling. The Ganga water waves dancing with clouds. For poetry, poet wants to stay alive many more days. Only for poetry. Human beings are struggling for survival and life. Only for poetry, I am not interested in immortality. Okay, we stop here. We have to update this file. We will talk about the next poetry in the next file. We have the next recording session for Vishnudev's 5th album. We have to move with the Vishnudev's 5th album. We will again talk next week about our next recording session to update for YouTube market. We talk about the next session in next week. Thank you. We have the next session of editing coming. We have to focus on the editing. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Cut it. Cut the file. Cut off. Camera. Cut.